Most business disasters don't start with bad luck. They actually start with avoidance. Avoiding uncomfortable conversations, avoiding preparation, avoiding the parts of leadership that feel vulnerable. And by the time most business owners realize they're exposed, it's already expensive. Today, we're going to be talking about how forethought protects you, how vulnerability actually strengthens your business, and why the smartest leaders don't wait for a crisis to act. If you are a business owner, a founder, or someone responsible for people, this matters more than you think. Because when something goes wrong in a business, it's not just financial. It's going to affect your sleep, your relationship, your confidence, your sense of identity. And seeing brilliant, hardworking people blame themselves for disasters that could have been avoided with little foresight. So today I'm joined by Matthew Neil Davis. Hi, Matthew. How are you?
Man, I'm excited, and you're speaking my language. This is right up my alley. So,
Well, I've been reading your book.
okay, well, here.
We're going to talk a lot about it. So, Matthew is a business attorney, he's a firm owner, and he's the author who led his sole business owned firm, Davis Business Law, through more than 1,000% growth over 8 years, earning a place into the Inc. 5,000 list. He has helped business leaders for over 25 years, and today he teaches them how to face vulnerability so they can protect what they built through his trust and protect his business system. So we're going to be talking about that. Matthew, once again, welcome.
Thank you. I am thrilled to be here. This will be fun. Let's talk shop.
All right, so let's start about risk. When risk begins, I want to start there because most people think business risk looks dramatic, lawsuits, failures, collapses, but you probably see what actually comes before that. And, so what I want to ask you is what are the early warning signs that business owners usually ignore before things go wrong?
Risk is always there, and you really alluded to this earlier in the sense that you're going to either be on offense, moving your business forward, or on defense, right? I was on some defense today, but I try to minimize that. We had a client up in Denver who just lost her mind. And I'm like, what are you mad about? So I had to spend my time talking to her. And really was pretty ridiculous. But then offense is doing things that are making your business better. I hope I'm answering your question directly, because the real risk is how much of your effort can you put towards making your business better? Because there is always something to do to make your business better. The example I go back to recently is I was with my 83-year-old uncle who's had a hugely successful career in Dallas. And he just said to me, Matt, I can't believe how dumb I was yesterday. And he's still fully engaged. So it's all the time. It's all around you. And it's what's going to take your opportunities away from you.
Absolutely. And that was exactly going to be my next question. Why do you think so many smart, capable leaders underestimate risk, even after they work so hard to build something?
I think it takes an immense amount of confidence to go start and build a business. Now, sometimes that bleeds over into a cockiness that they think that they're 10 feet tall and bulletproof and that nothing's going to get them. And the real lesson there is, yeah, things are going to happen. You're going to have negative things happen in your business. And your job is really to minimize that. So again, so that you're on offense, but it comes out of a cockiness and, bred by confidence. But the really successful business owners learn how to be, and this is Andy Grove from Intel, learn how to be paranoid. I think he wrote a book called Only the Paranoid Survive. And I just put a new little saying up here on my whiteboard. I'm pointing at my whiteboard and it says, I'm less concerned about what's, well, I can't read it because I have this here, but it's basically, I'm more concerned about our missteps and what we do wrong because we're our own worst enemies. We don't even realize it most of the time.
Oh, that is for sure. And talking about this strong protected business system that you built, right?
Right.
What was the problem that was exactly designed to solve, perhaps that traditional legal advice does not?
Well, people they go, okay, we have legal problems. Well, the legal problems are a symptom of something wrong in the business to begin with, or are a symptom of a misstep that you had before. And I was just over the years, I've thought about it a lot. And I really identified that there's three sources of all the problems that businesses get into. And, one is going to be catastrophes or disasters. You can call it whatever you want, but it's things that happen, negative things that happen that you have very little control over. But, guess what? You can prepare, you can prevent some of them, or there's some of them you can prepare for. My CFO was just smarting off to me about the big insurance policy I got on her today. I got the policy earlier this year, but she's like, yeah, well, I'm not going to go die because then you're going to collect on the insurance. Well, I'm going, looking at this going, well, yeah, if she dies, that's a big, I've got a big problem, right? So that's how you identify these problems or these potential problems like catastrophes through good brainstorming and good question asking, which is what we really teach our clients of methods and techniques of how to ask good questions that help you identify where the threats to your business are. Because if you can identify them, you can either, with catastrophes, you can either generally prevent some of them or prepare for some of them.
Sounds to me like reverse engineer. Yeah.
Exactly. But like, again, with just catastrophes, which is one third of the questions, y- just asking this bland or question of, well, what could go wrong? That's not an insightful question. But if you look at the systems of your business, which are going to be, you, the management, your people, your plant or your facilities, your marketing, your sales, and then your metrics, how you measure it. And you ask, okay, what catastrophes can hit me? Well, I'm 57 years old. I could stand to lose a few pounds. We're concerned about me, right? And that's what all this right over here is. This is about, hiring a new CLO. Oddly, our other one died, which we thought was rather inconsiderate of him. And I'm joking. And yeah. And so, and we're always concerned about, our marketing. We're always concerned about our sales. And so we measure it, we manage it, because there's that other saying, that which you measure, you can manage, that which you manage, you can improve. We really feel this viscerally because we live it. And it's one reason that we don't make a whole lot of mistakes. I mean, we have stuff happen all the time, but we tend to be pretty prepared for what might come our way. And I hope I'm answering your question because I get kind of goosebumps thinking about this stuff.
I hear you. But I mean, you're an entrepreneur yourself. You've led a firm through massive growth across multiple states, And when you said it, confidence, confidence can become a risk if leaders are not careful enough, right? And so we also mentioned that, I don't know, I think we mentioned the word vulnerability, right? For a moment. Because that word scares a lot of people in business, right? But how do you think that vulnerability can actually make a business stronger instead of weaker? I think I have a pretty good idea.
Well, then you tell me. Come on, Rosabel. You tell me.
Well, I think the problem is when you actually said it, we get super confident and we don't think that there is a vulnerability. But if we recognize it, then we act upon it. We do something to prevent, to protect. See, because vulnerability is always going to be there. That's just my quick answer to it.
Bang, bang, hook it or go. No, you nailed it. And one way, a little catchphrase I have for that is The people that will deal with their vulnerabilities are the ones that capitalize on their opportunities. And going back to my first thought or answer is if you're going to spend the time to deal with your vulnerabilities, then you're going to be able to stay on offense more of the time. And if you're on offense more of the time, you're the strongest player on the field, right? You're the guy making the goals. You're not having to worry about the other guy down on the end of your field. And, and we were talking, of course, about competition. But, if you're the strongest guy in the field, don't even worry about the competition. Just go kick the snot out of them. So, yeah, that you've got it completely. And that's how it works in sports. I mean, you got a good defense and spend a little time on it. You're ready to roll.
Earlier this year, I made a mistake, a costly mistake, not so costly, but costly enough, but it was a big lesson learned. And you are so right. I had just started my business. I was like so excited about it. I was not thinking about the vulnerabilities at all. Everything was supposed to be peachy going, I wasn't even thinking about the things I was saying. But I am so glad what I went through actually happened because it's teaching me a very valuable lesson because the desire for me to grow my business and become either bigger is still there. So this little mistake is helping me to map out because I have a feeling that things are going to go grow. Because that's the idea. You can't make a successful business if you don't think you're going to grow. So you're not going to think you're going to be good at it, right? And so I'm just so thankful because you were so right. I am so in the offense that so much that some people can even notice it. And you know what? I'm okay with that. They'd be like, wow, I noticed that there's a lot of stuff. You're covering yourself pretty good out there with your website and things of that nature. And like, I'm looking at my eyes are fully wide open now. Believe me.
Well, and let me turn it up one further notch for you. When when you learn how to anticipate the problems that are going to come your way because you're asking the questions and you're learning about the threats to your business, that's really empowering. And I'll share a story with you. So, we run a professional services firm and we have to keep attorneys on staff and keep them employed. And the number of attorneys for us is always a threat or a vulnerability to us because we've got fixed overhead, we've got bills to pay that are just built into how we operate. And so we know we have some real solid statistical models about what I might call the lifespan, particularly of some of our younger lawyers. Because when they're younger, they're feeling out their career, they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. And we went through the Business Immune System Report, which part of the Strong Protective Business Program. They're all kind of interrelated. And we said, okay, which one of our attorneys is at that point that he or she's going to start exploring another career? All right. So we did this during the strategic planning session earlier this year. We said one guy's name, right? He called me the next day and said he was going to work for an accounting firm. You know, we're not surprised. We're prepared. We were like, okay, yeah, I'm sorry to lose you. And, we still talk and we're great friends, but he may come back. So when you start to understand this stuff and can prepare for it because you've asked the tough questions and the sort of granular, detailed questions about your business, you just don't get blindsided. We already had a recruiting campaign going to replace him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, powerful. We were aware and dealt with the vulnerability, so we were able to capitalize or at least recover quickly.
Totally. And let's talk about this because you've probably seen business that have been able to survive storms and others maybe have collapsed under the pressure. But what do you think separates leaders who recover from those and the ones who don't fully recover?
I'm not sure this is exactly on point, but Jim Collins wrote a series of books, Good to Great, Great by Choice. Good to Great's the most famous of them. And he talks about getting a return on bad luck because everybody gets bad luck. Okay. It happens. But I think one thing he teaches, I know one thing he teaches is that the people that really succeed are the ones that don't feel sorry for themselves, that take the lesson, that then grow from that lesson, kind of like you did earlier this year, because we all have bad luck. And guess what? The funny thing is how much time we spend focusing on bad luck. But have you ever noticed how little time people spend focusing on good luck and going, oh, well, that wasn't fair that I got that good luck, right?
Now, if you look deep enough, there's more that we ourselves have to do with what happened than anything else.
Yeah.
Look back, I'm like, you know what? When you're able to recognize your mistakes and not be like, oh, well, it was bad luck, then bad luck is left out there to the chances. So there is a lot that we can do that we have control over, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing this worked for me. You know what I did? I allowed myself to grieve. I gave myself, like, I told myself, I'm going to give myself 1 or 2 months or a whole month. I'm going to do this, this, this. And when that period's over, I'm going full with this thing. And I am so excited that time is coming up, like beginning the new year strong because I allow myself to just take care of that. And that's show and done with.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so that's, we're talking about the same concept of let's get this behind us. Let's not be a victim of it. Just like you're not going to be a victim of the good luck you get. Let's move on. Let's learn from it. And there you go.
Totally. Yeah, I hear that. So you had 6 generations from Oklahoma. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I think so. We've been here a long time. My ancestors came from Ohio and came out here after the Civil War. So we've been here a long time. But, I know you're in Texas and I am a quarter Texan too. So take that. My grandmother was born 1 mile into Texas.
I don't know what it is, but this taste grows on you. Like the more I go around, I don't want to leave Texas. I kind of want to stay around.
Yeah, I like it. Okies have kind of a little brother attitude about Texas. But I'm fine. I spend a lot of time down there. I'll gonna spend about 10 days down there starting at the end of this week. So, yeah.
And a little personal note here. Did you have a rock band?
We were walkers when we were kids, and that's, when I slow down, that's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna go get the band back together and go play rock festivals. My wife's like,
Awesome.
yeah, why not?
I also want to talk about your book because let me tell you something. I love the title of your book,
Well, thank you.
The Art of Preventing Stupid. I love it.
Well, that's the art. The art is how, look, we're all going to go, I can't believe this stupid thing happened. I can't believe how stupid I was. It happens. And I was having coffee with a childhood friend of mine who lives in New Braunfels now. We were sitting there right across from the Comal County Courthouse. And his name's Mike Devers, brilliant guy. He said, man, Matt, I really feel like a lot of my friends and business associates are kind of phoning it in. And he's like, I just feel so dumb every day. It's like, I said, Mike, that just means you're still learning. And if you're still learning, you're still growing. And that's how you get better. And that's how your business is going to grow. Because one of the real, beauties of owning a business is the intellectual and academic challenge of it. I've spent enormous amounts of time over this Christmas holiday studying a book called Influence by, I think it's Cialdini is how you say it. Fascinating book. But, for us, important about productivity and important about sales and important about client satisfaction. So I guess, you want to minimize those times where you just go, I can't believe that stupid mistake happened. And again, they're going to happen, but let's minimize it. Let's make that our art, because if we do that, then we are much more prone to be successful.
Absolutely. talking about those books, you are so right. When you start a business, the amount of learning, the learning curve, not just into the business itself, but it opens up, it expands your knowledge in so many ways. I just recently, during my vacation, I literally just downloaded a whole list of books on entrepreneurship. This is the one because I want to know how other people did it. What can I, like you say, how can I make things better? And you're constantly studying and reading, and that's awesome because, I love reading. So thank you for the book, by the way.
You're welcome.
I definitely recommend people to get it, and I've been telling people about it because, hey, if you're an entrepreneur, you want to learn about how to prevent those stupid mistakes, this is the book. And the other thing I wanted to ask you is for someone out there who's feeling like, okay, what do I mean, like a kind of like an entrepreneur or a new business owner who's busy, tired, and hoping nothing goes wrong. But what's one act of forethought that they can take, perhaps this month, so it could save them years of stress? How about that?
I'll tell you what, we've got a good resource on our website, and it's in the resources tab. I polled all of our attorneys a year or two ago, and I said, what are the issues that we see all the time with our clients? And we broke it down into some subject matters, some topics. And so, that's a good list, right? But then if you're looking for actionability on the list, that kind of depends on the size of your business. Because if you're a startup business, you're not concerned about succession planning, right? You don't have anything to be worried about. You need to be worried about things like, do I have customer contracts or do I have employee contracts? There's many more. So what that document does is, I think it's called Strong Protected Business Checklist, but Davis Business Law Resources tabs. That really helped a lot of entrepreneurs go, okay, these are the things I need to be concerned about right now and we broke it down by the size of your business, whether I think we went like 1 to 5, 5 to 15 employees. There's a few commonalities in there. And by the way, those often relate real closely to the revenue. I sort of spitball revenue at about 225 to 250 per employee, thousand. And that, once your business starts to mature, that's probably about right. You're going to see a lot of commonality in that. So that's a powerful document that I probably need to revisit and make even better because guess what? I'm always learning, right?
Well, thanks so much. That definitely seems like a very useful resource. As you were talking, I was already thinking like, okay, I gotta go there and check it out myself.
Yeah, it's there. It's free. It's all yours.
I'm gonna be writing an article about our conversation today, and for sure I'm gonna include that resource out there so people can have it at the tip of their fingertips. One more question. What does a strong business really mean to you now?
Well, I'm going to tell you what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean a self-managed business because that's a bunch of crap. Okay. I'm just really visceral and kind of irritated at this now. I have these friends of mine that are like, oh, I have a self-managed. I was like, no, you don't. Quit kidding yourself. But, a strong protected business is a business that provides for you what you want in the way of lifestyle and in the way of income, which are obviously closely related, and that you've built in such a way that is a pleasure to run because you're not dealing with a bunch of, stupid, dramatic hassles that are, constantly sucking up your time. That you've built good systems that help you manage those things and that's constantly growing. So, a strong protected business is something that suits your lifestyle as the entrepreneur and that minimizes the defense that you're on so you can continue growing it if you want to, or you can just continue maintaining it if you want to. Because does that make sense?
Yeah.
Every now and then, even my wife thinks so.
Is there anything I've not asked you that you're like, I really wanted to say that or mention?
One other thing is, the other, and these I've alluded to these, one other thing is when we're talking about the three sources of threats to your business, you're going to have catastrophes. I use this ignorance. I mean, it's like our ignorance. And guess what? We're all ignorant about a lot of things. Okay. My dentist was telling me about these nerves that go here. That's why my nose itches. And so, it's this amazing, fascinating place we live in. And ignorance is something we need to accept and take the responsibility to get better at. Okay. This book, Influence, that I've been reading, that's me taking responsibility for making our productivity better, making our client services better, and all that. So that's one of the other two aspects. And then of where your vulnerabilities are going to come from. And then the third one, I call ineptitude. I don't know if I like that word. At the end of the day, maybe it's just ill discipline because what I mean by that is when you know what you're supposed to be doing and you're not doing it because you have to get your rhythms down. Yeah, sometimes I call it rhythm and bass. And if you're not checking your marketing, you need to check that. You need to make sure it's doing. And if you're not keeping up with your employee things and taking care of your employees, that's an ill discipline. Because if we get disciplined about what we're doing, our lives run better. Okay. It's like having a good diet. Those are two thoughts that I really didn't get expressed earlier, but critically important.
Right. And you said something, our lives, but the lives of the people that serve our employees, their families. And I think that perhaps the book that I don't know if you read, that influence that I think, for example, people have different reasons why they do start businesses, right? Some people want to leave their 9 to 5 or whatever jobs. But me personally, when I think about it, is again also the legacy and how you can influence other people, not only influence them, but help them along the way. So, I mean, there's just so much to learn. I mean, I wish I could talk to you for a long time because you can see I'm a talker.
Well, we'll have coffee next time I'm through down there. Okay.
Okay, well, sounds very good. Well, thank you, Matthew. Thank you so much for this conversation and reframing and all the things. And I keep reading your book. Okay, yeah, another book.
I need to get it done, but I have this thing that keeps distracting me called this law firm. So I just need to go get it done. So here.
What you just put together all the things you learn and
Yep, that's how it does. There. Happy New Year. So how do you say this? Feliz Nueva Años?
Feliz Año Nuevo.
Yeah. Lexi teases me because she's like, you speak Spanglish and you don't speak it very well, but you're fearless.
You said it right. Well, have a great new year and thank you so much for being here with us. I really
My pleasure, Rosabel. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.